Hey everyone, Gavin Lance Top here. I'm just getting set up to go live on a couple of different platforms in the Facebook group, Instagram, YouTube, podcast. Where else is there? Where this is fantastic, and the reason we're doing this is to help men. Okay, recently we've got thousands of people in our email list over the last 15 years. We've been doing this, but particularly when we started the ebooks 5 years ago, man, there are so many men that have reached out. So we started something. I started something new during the week, and basically through our email list, Cornerman conversations. I learned years ago, a cornerman, being a fighter for a long time, a boxer, a fighter can actually see what I can't. A cornerman can see what the fighter can't. I remember many times I was in fights, cornerman said, try this, do that, step that way, and change the whole fight. So that's what these emails are about. And I asked some questions there. So if you didn't get that email in whatever platform you're on, leave me your email or send us a private message, whatever, so you can actually get on Tuesdays. We're putting out these what from me being a cornerman, what I see in men, what's happening around the world, and I don't say that lightly. There was maybe 2 months ago, where I had a conversation with a man in New Zealand, changed his life, just through, and obviously committed to our mentorship. And then the next conversation I had an hour later was with a guy in Alaska, and he did the same thing. So, man, this is absolutely amazing. But what I talked about this week in that email, okay, was about living below the line or living above the line. And I'm going to explain more about that as we go. And towards the end, I'm going to give you some actions, some tools, okay? So the masculine journey is about action. Taking action, all right? So who's up for that? Leave me a comment if you're up for taking some action on your masculine journey. Also, I'd love you to type in whatever platform you're listening on, what city or what country are you in right now? And I'm seeing some great men, some Jamie from the Gold Coast, Daniel from Canberra, I can see on Facebook. That's awesome. Thank you, men. And what happened with this email, this Cornerman Conversations, we had a lot of men email back, which I was kind of blown away. I was taken away. Hence why we're doing this, particularly, Jody Casey from California. And we had Scott Page, who I remember talking to, I think about a year ago, from the UK. And you guys were just so great. It was so direct. Hey, Gav, I'm actually being recognised. I've been living below the line, maybe out of anger, out of disappointment, out of luck. And then I had other guys say, man, hey, Gav, since I did this and I did that, maybe one guy said, since I followed that 21-day ebook, man, alive, man, I recognise when I'm dropping below the line. So I'm staying, living above courage. So thank you for the emails, but that got back to us, But also, what I've been doing over the last week is on YouTube and Facebook and whatever, is like running these surveys. And this is what what's come back mostly was, because I said, do we want to know how to have better relationships, or do we want to hear more about our health, our mental health? I said about 3 or 4 things, all mental health. Literally, mental health just kept coming back. Blokes want to hear more about mental health. Hence, what this is going to be about today. So, hey, if you're up for learning more about having better health, better mental health, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. So, one of the things that I suppose, if you don't have good mental health, and a shout out to Tony Miller, a great mate of mine. He is actually the founder of Dads in Distress. It first started in Coffs Harbour back in Australia many years ago. and just an absolute champion. Just has actually saved thousands and thousands of men's lives. The amount of men that are committing suicide in Australia have dropped themselves below the line, and living in regret, living in disappointment. So yeah, Tony Miller, keep going, buddy. You're an absolute champion. So Dad's in distress. If you're maybe being separated from your kids or whatever, that's DIDS is just the best organisation. So, but when I want to explain this living below the line, this is something that I do in our mentorship program. I use this tool. It's from Dr. Hawkins, David Hawkins, and basically the bottom of it is kind of like, it's what frequency, what vibe, what are you tuning into? And basically the bottom of the line is shame. I mean, hey, who's felt some shame before? I've actually done some things that I'm ashamed of, So, but if we stay there, we operate, man, that's depressing, okay? And I mean, there's fears about here, anger's a bit higher. Who's been angry and felt a rush from it? Almost like that righteous anger. Even though you're angry, you're making a goose of yourself. I'm sticking my hand up here. It actually makes me feel better to let off some steam. Where, man, it's still not going to work. We're operating below the line. And basically the middle of the run is, right, where you can actually start to change your circumstances, is actually at courage. If we can get to courage, because just above courage is actually acceptance. It's willingness. It's willingness to actually, and this is what this is all about. This whole man alive is about becoming a better man, a better husband, a better father, a better son, a better leader, somebody who actually leads and impacts our communities. That's what this is about. So if you're operating below the line, man, you're gonna have all sorts of struggles and challenges internally. Internally, we're talking about. So, and of course, the inner world creates the outer world. So gentlemen, if we can get up above acceptance, that's where the peace is, that's where the love is, that's where the joy is. And for you guys that are fathers, hey, give me a thumbs up or give me a yes if you're a dad. What I've learned, I've got 7 kids. What I've learned about fathering is kids don't necessarily listen to what you say, but they seem to copy and mimic everything you do. So you want to raise better kids, become a better man, as far as I'm concerned. So if we can get above courage, if we can get above that courage, that's where the good stuff actually starts to happen. And, even having a great conversation, one of our guys doing our mentorship, Christian, he's a doctor in California, and he's tired, man. He's tired. He's delivering between 200 and 250 babies a month. I can't even imagine that, man. I can't even imagine what that's like. That he does 24-hour shifts. He's tired, and as I think about it, and I think about maybe some past conversations I've had over the years, honestly, if I look at on a whole, I reckon most men are operating just below burnout. So as soon as something happens, bang, anger. They're just not thinking clear. They go straight to regret, resentment, blame. But when we come from a place above courage, when we're rested. I think even in our Facebook group, Rowan just did a great live a couple of days ago. He's done 2 years in our mentorship program, and I got him to speak on one of our mentors Zooms the other day. And I was reminded. It's funny how in a couple of years how far somebody can come. Where he reminded me, he had this, what I would call a 3-rounder, a 3-round fight, okay? His 3-rounder was, in a couple of weeks, he lost his house, his family, and his business, man. How do you come back from that? You know, but he did. But he did come back from it, you know. And then, of course, he talks about a few years down the track, hey, a similar thing happened again. So then obviously the second time, man. Anyway, he's just got in. He's just got his house back. He's got his wife back. His business is flying. Man, he's got, like, he showed us on the mentorship Zoom, you know, he wrote these things down that he wanted a couple of years ago. And only a couple of years later, he's actually living his dream. He's living his dream life. So he's got loved ones around him. I mean, man, there's so many stories I could tell you, you know. Matt Hess on one of them, he's got an amazing comeback story, haven't you, mate? You're in the process of the story developing over in WA. Thank you, mate. And shout out to Matt. He's one. I recently said to him before, I said, mate, can you help this guy? Can you support this guy? Guess what his answer was? Of course I can. Of course I can. So that's what a great man does. Thanks, Matt. So man, so the question is, and this is a tool, you know, you can YouTube this, David Hawkins, and look at it. Man, what I would strongly suggest, because this is a tool that I use in the mentorship program, put it on your fridge. Start to talk to your kids about it. They'll correct you. He's got some teenage kids, some young adult kids. They'll help you. They'll correct you. So you got to have some fun on this journey, yeah? So, but one of the things that from this email that we send out with these Cornerman conversations was Daniel from Canberra. And this is something that he said. I hope you don't mind me, Daniel. I see you on there, mate. Shout out to you, buddy. He's a great guy. Couple of businesses, but we all got stuff, haven't we? You know. And but one of the things that Daniel sent back with an email was, and this is what I like what he said. He goes, "I made a decision," and men, that's really what we need to do today. You know, we need to make decisions. We need, as men, when we are decisive, well, that's attractive to people. When we're decisive, it actually makes it easier to live. It makes it, I'm deciding to live above courage. I'm deciding to look at I've made a decision. I'm not going back to anger. I'm going forward. So gentlemen, you know, and as I said, you know, with these Cornermen's conversations, what I want to do is give men tools and actions to do. And this is something that this is the action. How do you live above the line? How do you live from courage onwards, from courage upwards? How do you do that? Well, this is something, and maybe some of you guys are got some pad and pen, get it handy, because this is something worth writing down, I think. You know, and when we talk about dreams, you know, I talk about when the dream's big enough, man, the odds don't matter. When the dream's clear enough, when I can see it clearly, the challenges seem to get smaller, okay? So one of the things that a lot of men are focusing on that are living below the line, they're actually looking at the problem. They're actually looking at the challenge. They're actually looking at why they can't do it. Maybe they're looking at how they attempted to do something before and it didn't work. Well, I got to tell you, being a fighter for 18 years, man, I lost a lot of fights. But every one I lost, I got to learn something I would never have learned if I had won it. Let that land. You know, so quite often I say with the fights I didn't win was actually the ones I learned the most. And generally what I learned the most was about me. What was going on in my mind, what was going on in my heart, what was going on in my subconscious, you know, that negative thing that's trying to pull us back, hold us back. And I always like to break things down so I can understand, so anyone can understand. So the dreams, you know, when we look at that word dream, it's about vision, you know. It's about having your imagination being able to work for you. You know, most people don't understand they can actually use their imagination for good. A lot of men imagining the worst case scenario. And even just before with Christian, the doctor I was talking about, he's saying about something that I said, the measure of a man's strength is his ability to control his own thinking. So I mean, that takes strength, that takes courage to always look courage and above. So getting to this, all right? So this is the answer to live above courage. We have a dream that's clear enough. But I want you to really get what I mean when I say dream. Because like if we go back a couple thousand years, in the Greek, right, they talk about when they translated it in the Bible, even when it talks about translation, Greek was about having a dream, was about having a vision, But I like to study, but I'm going to be honest. I'm not that good of a studier, but I'm better at studying the people who actually have done the studying. All right, I'm being honest here. I'm good at studying the people who do the studying. Okay, well, this guy, okay, he actually was he's a wordsmith and he's a scholar. He's everything that I'm not. But when he broke down the word dream in the Greek, about vision, as I said, but when he broke it down into the Hebrew, okay, the Hebrew. So we're going back about 5,000 years when they would speak in Hebrew and they would talk about vision. They would talk about the word dream. And when you break down, what I'm told, when you break down the word dream in certain parts of the Bible, even where some parts, like a word is like a paragraph. There's so much content and meaning to that word. Okay, so when you have a dream and you break it down into a paragraph, because some places when they were translating the Bible from Hebrew to Greek, the word dream, sometimes they'd put dream, and guess what the other meaning of the word dream is? It's called health. It's called health. It's actually, when you break it down, it's called, the meaning of dream in the Hebrew is called restored. They break it down. It's called restored to health. So when you have a clear enough dream, a big enough dream, it actually restores your health. Can you believe that? I mean, I can believe that. And this might be a challenge, right now. If you think about all the things that you love, that you're longing for. We've got Lloydie Ross here. I remember when you went to, this mate, leave me a comment. When you were going to Antarctica on that massive cruise, that lifelong trip that you wanted to do, what did that make you feel like? You had something, a dream to look forward to. Andrew, you champion. So when you think, mate, you recently done a Europe trip. What was that like when you were looking forward to something massive and big? It actually gives you good health, doesn't it? So when we have a dream, a clear enough dream when we can see it, it actually restores us to health. So going back to those Cornermen conversations, when we're talking about living below the line, I guarantee if you're living below the line, maybe in regret or maybe in anger, I guarantee you the vision that you have in your mind is not good. It's probably resentment maybe. But if we can get to courage, hey, listen, what has happened in the past is actually in the past. This is about the future. So what is the thing you actually want in the future? What is the thing that is in you that you must do? I love another one of the examples in the dictionary of dream is it actually, the way that it's worded is it's called a deep desire. There is desires in you, in you, in you. There's deep desires in me that are there for a reason, that are there. So when we connect with those dreams, those deep desires, all of a sudden we'll start to feel better. We'll start to actually have some faith that we're designed for something. I honestly believe that these deep desires that are in us, they're there for a reason. They were put there. I've got some deep desires in me, okay? And this is where I think a lot of men maybe talk themselves out of their purpose, talk themselves out of these dreams. They talk themselves out of living a full life because because they don't trust that those deep desires are being put in there. And this is what a lot of men, a big mistake I think a lot of men make, is that they talk themselves out of these dreams, or they start to feel like they need to justify the dreams that are in them. Whereas, and we hear many people say, oh, well, I don't care. Well, of course, I think there's a healthy, I don't care what people think. But of course, we always care about what people think. That's silly, If you're a good person, you're going to care about, you want to help people and support people. But man, we can't let negative people talk us out of our dream. We don't, and if we can get to this place where we actually don't even need to justify it. I've got this dream in me, man. I'm here in Gozo. I've got Africa about 300 kilometers on this side of me. I don't know why, but I want to go on an expedition to Africa. I want to go to the Sahara Desert. I've got this dream, right? Of telling this joke about the Sahara Desert. At the Sahara Desert, I heard Zig Ziglar tell this joke, and 20 odd years ago, I love this joke about the Sahara Desert. I want to go to the Sahara Desert and tell this joke. I don't know why I want to do it. It's a desire. I don't even care if anyone I want to do it. I want to do it. I can't even explain why. But men, that's it. When you get a clear vision and it restores your health, I care, but not enough to take me out. Like I care what you think, but not enough to take me off of what's in me. So gentlemen, this is what hey, double D's there, good man. So, hey, let's get above the line here, gentlemen. You can find that on YouTube, David Hawkins. Dr. David Hawkins, an absolute champion. So when we understand the word dream in the Hebrew, man, it restores our health. When we have that clear vision, we'll live above the line. It's worth sacrificing these things for, what a sacrifice, is to go without something now for something greater later. And that's what we're talking about this dream. So gentlemen, I'm going to be doing another email out this Tuesday. So if you're not on my email list, give me your email, get it to me somewhere. I'm pretty easy to find, right? My team will put you in there. So make sure you get these Cornermen conversations every Tuesday, and what we're going to do is we're going to help more men. We're going to help more men around the world, like me, like you, like the bloke next to you. Let's change the world one man at a time, and also look out for these surveys because I want to know what's actually coming up for you. What do we actually want to talk about here? What are some answers you need? What are some questions you need to ask? So gentlemen, that's what we're doing here. Get on the email list, whether you're on Instagram, leave me comments, listen to the podcast. There's so much content out there, man. Let's inspire the world. All right, leave me double D, you champion.